The history. We're going to do some things very different for those that haven't been here. I'm going to give you a little history of what Sanctity of Life Sunday is even all about. And then I'm going to give you an Upper Cumberland for Life report of what we've done this last year. And that's why we have some wonderful guests here. And they will be recognized and you'll find out. So it's going to be you just have to be patient about all these pretty little girls in their red outfits. And then at the end, what I'm really excited about is we're going to have prayer. Our pastor has been saying how important prayer is. And the longer I've been with Upper Cumberland for Life, we can change laws, we can do all sorts of things that are good to do, but until our hearts are right with Christ and we really realize how every life matters, your life matters, it's all sacred and God created us, we're not going to get it right. So when the Christians start waking up and really, I'm getting ahead of myself. So anyway, we're going to do a rose ceremony, and I'm going to ask people, we're going to have some music playing. We're going to come up, and I'll explain it all, and we're going to take roses and pray. And then we're going to celebrate because Roe versus Wade was overturned last year. And we didn't celebrate last year when it happened, but we're thankful that it was overturned. And that means a lot for our state. So we're really happy for Tennessee, okay? But as I'll show you, there's other things we still have to be concerned about. And there's still work to do. For a while there, I kind of thought, I'm done, and then God kind of said, nope, not yet. So there's lots to do. So I'm going to start with the history because I didn't know all this history. And it's not 50 years ago today, the exact day, is when the court said Roe versus Wade was going to be the law of the land. Now, for those that I assume everybody knows, but I don't like to assume. I always tell my husband that, who, by the way, thank you, Stu. He's my right arm over there. We shouldn't assume. So Roe versus Wade is what made abortion legal nationally, not irrespective of what state you live in. Okay, so that was the law that was made in 1973. Now, that seems like to me, because I'm older, not that long ago, 1973. I mean, I was in college. But raise your hand if you were born at 73 or later. Yeah, look around, all these people. They've been their whole life with Roe versus Wade as the law of the land. And it was on the 10th, Sanctity of Life Sunday started. On the 10th anniversary, President Ronald Reagan, he wrote a book. I didn't know that. He published an essay about life. And I won't read you the whole thing. You'd be here and you'd never get to eat. But he wrote a little essay called Abortion and the Conscience of the Nation. And he's basically saying that until we realize that it's not whether the unborn is a human being, but the value of the human life. And I think that's where my heart is at, the value of every human life. And 1 out of 10 women have had abortions. They've been lied to, or they were in circumstances. There's no condemnation in Christ. We've all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. So don't anybody think that that's what I'm here to do. I love all the women and not all the men. I only love Stu. But you know what I'm saying. That's a good thing. Yeah, that's a good thing. So, but the 10th anniversary, he wrote this book, and in it, he wrote an essay, and I didn't realize he did that. I was just in college. He said, the real question today is not when human life begins, but what is the value of human life, he wrote. So I thought he wrote a lot more, and was very descriptive even. And so if anybody wants to borrow this little essay book, it's really kind of incredible that he wrote that. And I never knew because I was just in college. So anyway, so he wrote that, and then a year later, he issued a proclamation number 5147 for the National Sanctity of Life Sunday in 1984. That's still a long time ago. Not to me, of course, because I'm old. But on the 11th year of Roe versus Wade, he made it the closest Sunday to January 22nd, which is the day that they did the Roe versus Wade. And at that time, 15 million babies had been aborted. Okay? 15 million, that is a lot. But today, it's over 63 million aborted. And so I need to be more diligent personally. But anyway, the history, back to the history. President George Bush continued it. Reagan continued it throughout his presidency. George H. Bush continued it. And I'm not being political here, but Bill Clinton discontinued it. Then the next president, for all you little homeschoolers who know all your history and your kids in school, the next president was George W. Bush, and he resumed it during his presidency. Then the next president after George W. Bush, anybody know of these kids? After George W. Bush, who was president? Nobody knows? Obama was president. Okay? He discontinued it. Who was president after Obama? History buffs. Trump was president. He issued the proclamation again. Now who's president? You know now who's president? Biden. Yes. Thank you, Delilah. These kids are so smart. I love these kids. President Biden has not issued a proclamation. So, but most churches across the nation have every Sunday close to the 22nd done something. At least they used to. I would dare to say probably most are not today, which is sad to me. But I am grateful again to my pastor, his wife, and this congregation for being willing to celebrate it and to say yes. So we are pro-life. Why are we pro-life? Because we're created by God. We are created by God. And I'm not a preacher. We got great preachers. But there is the scripture. God created man in his own image. Open up the first page. So I guess, are we going to choose to believe God? Or are we going to choose? I was raised where evolution was taught. And I was in the schools. And it's like, okay, well, how does this jive? And I go, well, maybe God created by evolution. No. Go to the ark. I'm not going to preach about that. Leave that to the pastors. But I'm just going to say, we were created by God. Your parents did not create you. Your God created you. Okay? And I am thankful that God created me, and he created each one of us perfect, exactly how he wanted us to be. So, wait a minute. I had so many notes here. I had a whole bunch of things. Oh, yeah. Here they are. I messed them up. Sorry. I am not good at this. But I wanted to tell you, this is the last page. This is the second page. Okay, history of life. We're pro-life. Oh, boy, I messed up. Oh, here I am. Sorry. Sorry, Roger. Okay, the Upper Cumberland Life Report. First off, where is Tina? Tina, last year, I put out there that every Monday at Sarah's Garden, which we'll get to in case you're not aware of what it is, we would get together every Monday at noon. There was a national call for people to pray at noon for the overturn of Roe versus Wade. And Tina was faithful every Monday. Well, maybe we missed a couple Mondays in 6 months or whatever. But she met with me and prayed with me at Sarah's Garden for our nation and for the overturn of Roe versus Wade. So we did that. And then we had the annual art contest, which we try to encourage young people to think about life, to do art about life. Tim Elliott, raise your hand, please. He's on our board. He helps me with the pack and play annually. We donate, we collect. We have 13 churches. We have like a picnic at my house, pass out pack and plays to 13 different area churches. They fill them up for the month. And this year, Tim is going to collect them all for me. Thank you, Tim. and take them down there. Last year, we gave over $12,000 worth of items from Fentress County. That's pretty impressive. And to me, that is a word of what we can do when we work together and not separate ourselves into little boxes of, well, we do this, we do this, we do this. Let's work together, you know. So the Pack and Play is a real success, and we're going to continue that. Sarah's Garden is actually on our property, and this carving is part of it. At Sarah's Garden, we have a memorial for the unborn. We have a big carving of Jesus holding a baby that has his hand on the woman's back, but he was very heavy and we couldn't bring him. So, but we have a place of prayer and a memorial for the unborn. And this year we were super beyond measure blessed because the American Heritage Girls, Heidi, would you please stand up? Heidi, who also goes to our church, in case, is in charge of the American Heritage Girls. What are the American Heritage Girls? They're similar, she'll tell you more if you want to know more when you're talking, when we're eating. But it's a Christian organization, cross denominational boundaries, which I love. And they come together as an organization and learn service and what else, Heidi? You do all sorts, what? Faith, yep, faith and service and fun. Oh, is that the three words? Faith, service, and fun. So that's what's been happening in our valley. Well, I mean, not in our valley, in this area. And of that organization, there is a young woman that definitely needs recognition today because her name is Faith Monty, and this family is amazing in the second row. Please say hello to them when you can and get to know them because they're wonderful. But Faith decided that for her Stars and Stripes Award, which is similar to what's the Boy Scout thing that they get, that Eagle Scout Award, except to me it sounds even harder because she came to me and said, I want to do something at Sarah's Garden for my Stars and Stripes Award. I said, okay. And so what she did, she drew out a design, she organized girls to work, she put in benches under the trees, they made, her dad helped her, but they did it. A big wooden cross is there, it's all put in, she organized I did nothing except go around on my little four-wheeler and say hi to everybody. But they had such a fun, and I was so blessed. There were so many giggling little girls at that garden that day. And they were working, moving rocks, edging garden things. Then afterwards, she puts up online. She knows how to do computers and set up who would maintain it. And she's still not finished with her Stars and Stripes Award. She's got to write an essay. She had to get signatures. I mean, it's beyond anything I would have done in high school. And she's 17 years old, so if you'd stand up for Faith, I want to thank her and for all the work she did. Yep. Yeah. Thank you, Faith. It is so beautiful. If you have not been by Sarah's Garden to see it, well, in the spring it'll be absolutely gorgeous. And I just want to, they worked hard, and thank you, Faith. And when she finally gets that award, we're going to have a picnic over there for all their girls and put a little plaque on the bench, you know, but she's not officially got it yet. We're waiting. So Sarah's Garden, and I want to show you too. People go, Sarah's Garden, I told you what Sarah's Garden is. Oh, why is it called Sarah's Garden? My husband wants me to tell you why it's Sarah's Garden. Some of you may know, but my daughter-in-law has had 7 miscarriages. So when we were putting the garden together, I didn't want to name it Mary's Garden or anything like that. So I just wanted to do something to bless her, so we named it Sarah's Garden. So it's after her. And because it's for abortions, you can get nameplates for any abortions, women who have had abortions and have come to know Christ and have been forgiven, and you know, they can still come and remember their baby. And miscarriages, there's stones there for miscarriages. And I tell you, everybody came together for that project. People from our church gave me the big stone that they sit on. Kermit made a big box where we have put a box in there for the Bible. I mean, it just, bam, God just did it with all these people. And Faith, you put the topping on the cake. So thank you and your mom painted a bird feeder and all these things. So anyway, but people come, and I wanted to share with you because I get this blessing all the time. In there is a guest book. See where this is? It's over half full already. People have come mainly, they thank you for this beautiful memorial in memory of my stillborn. Lord, I mean, one guy came from up north somewhere, and he was passing through and stopped. So, it's just, and some people put little notes in the box to me. So I wanted to share that with you. I'm going to take this over to the fellowship hall because you can read some of these notes that there are hurting women that have lost children, and to have a place in our own county where they can come and remember their child, even if it's once a year or less, whenever they want, that they can do that. And I'm just beyond measure blessed to be able to do that. I didn't initially think of it at our house. I thought of it as at the park, but then I'd have to get political because we weren't allowed to have it at the park. Okay, so, so we did the garden, the American Heritage Girls, we did the Allard Pumpkin Festival again, and we're still gonna do that to share with people, because when we take out those little baby models, I could have brought them, I guess, and show people, and the girls come by and they get to hold the little babies, and it's weighted. They know. My prayer is every time they come by, I pray, Lord, help them remember when they're older, when they're 17 or 18, or if they get pregnant and they're unwed, that they remember holding this little model and how weighted it is and how precious it is. We had a donation. We gave a donation to Jonah's Joy, which is a Christian home for girls in Crossville, because they're working on helping girls that have been abused or struggling with families. And then Autumn Hayes of the Methodist Church over there helped me and took on the project of the baby dolls at the Christmas Fentress Sheriff Toy Drive. So every year she buys a bunch of baby dolls, again in the hopes that when they're little girls, if they fall in love with their little baby doll, like I did, when they're older, they'll remember their little baby doll. And remember, babies are precious. But that's the report. You're right, Roger. I am taking a while. I'm sorry. What's coming our way? Okay. I did some research. And for a while there, when Roe versus Wade got overturned, I just thought, phew, but then God kind of nudged me and said, nope, don't do it yet. One person in Nashville, in our state, or any votes, it can change. The law can change. My goal is to change hearts, but we still have to concern ourselves with the laws. Okay? The first official act, get this. I was so upset when I wrote all these notes that I won't read them all to you because I don't want you to get upset. The Democrats first, and again, it's not the Democrat leaders, okay? Official act of the 118th Congress was to bring a vote on January 9th, once again, for the Women's Health Protection Act. Now, the Women's Health Protection Act, that sounds pretty good, doesn't it? That's what's tricky. Like Roger always teaches us, they're playing chess, we're playing checkers. Words are of utmost, I cannot tell you enough how words matter today. They are changing the words. Let me go on a side note, because I learned that from Roger, I can do that. That I have a video, and I want to do a teaching, of when in 1973, they changed the definition of conception in the big medical book. And I looked it up with the initial book, and they did it. They changed the definition from conception, which it was for years and years and years, to implantation. Okay, now kids, you can I'm sorry, that's too much. Okay, but that's really naughty. And it's really bad and deceptive. So, but what the Women's Health Protection Act does, it preempts all abortion bans and restrictions. It takes us back and says they have to give women a right to abortion. Okay? They have an Equal Access Abortion Coverage in Health Insurance Act called the EACH Act, where it repeals the Hyde Amendment. The Hyde Amendment, for those that are younger, made it so that federal workers, you couldn't use federal money to provide abortions, like if you were a postman or a veteran or what else did I write down? VA, the prisoners in federal prisons. So they want to make it so anybody in the government, they can use our federal dollars for abortion. The HEAL for immigrant families, they want to remove, they call them the new thing now, a woman's right to her body. Yes, that's we've heard for 50 years. It's her woman's right, which is not her body, number one. But now they're throwing in, which surprised me, that it's an issue of race, and it's racist. They've straight out said, I got this information from, I'm sorry, I get all twisted up. I have so much in my head I want to tell you. Okay, to remove racist policies from barring immigrants from attaining abortions. Okay, so they're saying because so many people of color get more abortions than white women get abortions, that it's a racist thing to not let them get more abortions. So they want to have policies remove those laws. So I got this information from the Guttmacher Institute. And what does has anybody heard of the Guttmacher Institute? Good, because it's really bad. Okay, but they are the leading, and I looked it up. How did they even come in existence? They were formed in 1968 as part of Planned Parenthood. Oh, surprise, surprise. And they're one of the leading policy drivers, and they make suggestions to all the legislators, and they're the driving kind of organization that puts it all together, does studies, gives you all the statistics pro-abortion, and puts them out to everybody. Okay, so I get their letter just to see what they do, what they put out. And they're saying that 17.8 million, now since Roe's been overturned, 17.8 million women of reproductive age live in a state without an abortion provider. I am happy, but they're sad. They're writing like, oh my gosh, these poor women don't have issue. 12 states are enforcing a near ban, which is Tennessee is one of those states. Yay, yay Tennessee, I'm glad we live in Tennessee. 4 states now have a gestational age ban. In other words, under a certain, you're so many weeks pregnant, then you can't have an abortion. And the Guttmacher Institute reports that 2020, there were 930,160 abortions in clinical settings. There were still only 930, they say. There were still 930. But here's what they report. They report that's an increase from 2017. And you know what they're going to do with that? What they're doing with that information? They're saying, look, the tide is turning. For years, we've been saying, look, abortions are going down. And I've posted the statistics on our website in our state. And it's been going down. But I guess from 17 to 20, there was an increase of 8%. So they're saying, but they're saying medical abortions account for 53%. Here's where we got to be aware. 53% are medical abortions in 2020 compared to 2017, when they're only 39%. So and what that means is a woman can just call a doctor and they can get pills sent to them. There are these pills, and you can send them. So I think, I'm going to check it out, but I think we're working on a law in Tennessee to prevent the mail order of those pills. And you can get them in Walmart for $35. I have checked. Now that irritates me, and that makes me mad, that my own Walmart, does that. But I tried. I talked to if anybody has any brilliant ideas about Walmart, get with me, because I'm up for anything at this point. Okay, so this Guttmacher Institute has given 8 measures. This is their newest lady, just came out this last week. 8 things they want state legislators to do. Okay? Tennessee included. Tennessee included. They want more dedicated funding for abortions. Okay? There's 4 states that already have funding set aside. Get this one. In New Mexico, Governor Michelle Grisham, she pledged $20 million to put an abortion clinic right near the Texas border because Texas doesn't allow them. These guys are playing chess. They're looking ahead. They're placing their little pieces in place. They want to repeal existing things. 6 states permit abortion at any stage. 6 states still permit it at any stage, one of which I'm ashamed to say is Alaska, where I'm from. Okay? And they say, they report that 1% of abortions are after 20 weeks. But they want to push. They say that's terrible. They said even though 1%, they said that's not good. We want all women anytime, ever, for bodily autonomy and equality. Because some people may not be able to get to the doctor in time, or maybe they didn't know in time, so they all deserve that right. Okay, those are some of the laws they want to repeal. I won't bore you. But if you want to see them, come see me while reading. They want to expand private and public insurance cover abortions. Again, repeal the Hyde Amendment. They want to amend state constitutions to protect abortion rights. So those that are of the other side are going to work. This legislation, they're going to try and do it. They want to strengthen legal protections for self-managed abortions. Again, but do you know how dangerous that is to the women? You know, it breaks my heart. They want self-managed. They want to protect abortion clinic staff. Somebody talked to me this morning about somebody who got arrested. I think it was Irv. Mentioned somebody just for praying at the abortion clinic. And our friend in Nashville, he had the FBI come after him. But they want to protect what they call the violence blocking entrances or intimidating staff and patients. But what do you call violence? You know, what do you call intimidating? And Maine has an act that requires an 8-foot buffer zone. But they want to, there was a law, some state, I think it was California, tried to get it to 35 feet, but it was shut down by the Supreme Court, saying that you had to stay 35 feet away. So that's good. But here's the big one that really concerns me. They want to restrict pregnancy centers. They don't call them pregnancy centers, they call them women's health centers that are run by they straight out write it from the book, their own mouths say from evangelical Christian networks and other religious organizations. And they call it critical to halting the spread of misinformation. This is such a lie. Such a lie. And they want to end state funding. They want to require them to disclose that they do not do abortions. They want to have them have a sign saying, we don't have a doctor here to do your abortion. They know that these pregnancy centers are having an effect. And so they're going to try to stop them. You know, Tennessee right now is in a good place. But as Christians, we are our brother's keeper too. You know, we can't be I tend to get in my own little world, my own little 6-acre plot, you know, and the world is bigger and we have to take care and fight and pray for these people. And they want to enact laws to protect patients and providers and abortionists from punishment from licensing boards when they go across the state. Okay, so if an abortionist, he's got his license, let's say in Tennessee. Now Tennessee's not allowed. So he goes over to, I don't know, Kentucky. It's probably not allowed in Kentucky either. But if it were allowed in Kentucky, they say, okay, I'm going to do it in Kentucky. Well, I have a license in Tennessee. I shouldn't be prosecuted. They want to change that so he's free to do it wherever he wants. So, I mean, it's like crazy, crazy. So this year, and then we're going to pray because that's the answer. That's the only answer. This year, what Upper Cumberland, what I'm dedicating myself to, I confess I have not liked politics. I've been to Nashville once and it was okay, but it's like, oh, just let me stay in my own little town. But I'm going to start watching legislation. And I need someone to help me because I signed up for all those little things you can sign up online, but I can't read the bills and make sense of them. But I'm going to stay more diligent on legislation. And if it need be, I'm going to hightail myself down there and just talk to our legislators and say, look, say you're pro-life. Let's vote pro-life. Let's do what's right. Let's do what's right. It's that simple. So I'm really convicted and motivated to do more with that. We have a new thing we're doing every month. We're giving financially and supporting the Fentress County Children's Center. Did everybody know there was one but me? No, I didn't know either. And Rogers was on our board and he suggested it, and I said, I didn't even know it existed. And so I've been here 8 years. So I'm happy that we are not just preborn, we are pro-life. Every life matters. We're going to do the pack and play collection again this spring. Thank you, Tim's going to help me. We're going to do the pumpkin festival again. Janine Murphy's going to take that on. The baby doll collection, we're going to keep with the Sarah's Garden. But most of all, I'm here today to say we need to stay diligent. And this is to me. Oops, this is to me. Hit my thing. And I do have a scripture, even though I'm not preaching. 2 Timothy 1:6-7. I love this. And this isn't the whole scripture, so all the Bible scholars, please have mercy. For this reason, I remind you, but this is the part I love, to fan into flame the gift of God which is in you through the laying on of hands. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. We are right. They'll make you think you're wrong and that you're not being loving and you're not being a good Christian. But that's not the truth. We have the truth. And we have to fan into flame, like Roger's been preaching to us week after week. You know, we pray, but we have to act. There's something, and not necessarily with this organization, but we all have a reason God created us and put us here on this earth. And so we have the truth, and I want us, we're going to end this. Is it okay? Do you want us to talk? Okay. He had a mini sermon prepared in case I got too scared and went too short. Thank you, Roger. So, but we have the truth, and I was going to say he has the truth, which is true. But we're going to end with prayer. And what we're going to do with these roses, I've been wanting to do this for a couple years. Tracy up in the sound booth is going to run just a little background music so it's not like awkward. And we're going to have the ushers, wherever my ushers are. They're going to come up. And, well, no, we're not going to do it that way. We changed our mind. We're going to have families come up to this little cradle where I have wooden roses. And I want families to come up, take a rose, and to remind them to pray. If they want to pray, that'd be better yet. We've been studying about prayer. Steve just in Sunday school was talking all about prayer. And so we want to pray. That's the only thing that's going to work. And the only thing God listens to, he hears our prayers. Do we believe he hears our prayers? You know, sometimes I just kind of go blah, 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 guilty. And it's like, no, he hears our prayers. He loves us. He wants us to pray for these states, for women who've had abortions, if you've had one, for forgiveness, for women you may know, for what you can do, whatever God leads on your heart. But we're going to each come forward, and if each family could take a rose and then step to the side, pray, and then after that, here's the catch. You can go on over to the fellowship hall to eat, but I don't want you to start eating yet. I'd like everybody to